Ladies and gentlemen, let's be honest for a moment. Burning fat isn't just about looking lean. It's about reclaiming your health, your energy, and your confidence. For too long, we've been told that weight loss is only about eating less and moving more. But science tells us something very different. Fat burning is not just about calories, it's about hormones, it's about metabolism, and it's about making your body work with you instead of against you. Today, I'm going to share with you the top 10 proven strategies for fast fat burning, methods grounded in real science, not fads or myths. These are strategies that reset your hormones, optimize insulin, and unlock the body's natural ability to burn fat efficiently. If you've struggled with stubborn weight, constant cravings, or low energy, this message is for you. Because once you understand the science, you'll realize fat burning doesn't have to be slow or complicated. It can be faster and more effective than you ever imagined. And by the end of this talk, you'll have a clear, practical roadmap to transform your body and your health, starting today. When it comes to fat burning, the first thing most people think about is calories. Eat less, move more, and the weight should come off. But if that approach truly worked, then we wouldn't see millions of people stuck in cycles of dieting, frustration, and disappointment. The truth is, your body is not simply a calculator, it's a chemistry lab. What determines whether you store fat or burn fat is far more influenced by hormones than by simple calorie counting. And the master hormone that dictates this process is insulin. Insulin is often misunderstood. Many people believe it is just about blood sugar, but it is far more powerful than that. Insulin is the hormone that tells your body whether to store energy or release it. When insulin levels are high, the body locks fat away and refuses to let go of it. It doesn't matter if you are eating less. If insulin is constantly elevated, your body is in storage mode. Think about it like this. You may have a full tank of gas, but if the lock on the fuel tank is shut, you can't access it. That's exactly what high insulin does. It locks your stored energy away and leaves you feeling hungry, tired, and trapped in a cycle of cravings. This is why so many people struggle when they focus only on calories. They cut back on food, they push themselves harder in the gym, and they expect the fat to melt away. But because insulin is never brought under control, their bodies are still holding tightly to fat. They end up feeling miserable, deprived, and eventually give up, blaming themselves for a lack of willpower. The truth is, it's not about willpower, it's about biology. Once insulin is controlled, fat burning becomes natural and the body finally opens up its energy reserves. So how do you control insulin first? It begins with food choices. Not all calories are created equal when it comes to insulin. 100 calories of refined sugar or processed carbs will spike insulin dramatically, while the same amount of protein or healthy fat will have a minimal effect. That means you can eat fewer refined carbs and more protein-rich, nutrient-dense foods, and your body will naturally begin to stabilize insulin levels. This doesn't mean you need to starve yourself. It means you need to eat in a way that calms your hormones and signals your body that it's safe to burn fat. Another key factor is timing. Constant snacking throughout the day keeps insulin elevated, even if the meals are small. By giving your body windows of rest through intermittent fasting or simply spacing out meals, insulin has time to drop and fat burning can switch on. This is why fasting has been such a powerful tool for so many people. It gives the body the chance to lower insulin and finally unlock stored fat. Exercise also plays a role, but not in the way most people think. The goal isn't to burn as many calories as possible during a workout. It's to improve insulin sensitivity. Strength training and high-intensity workouts are particularly effective because they help muscles absorb glucose without needing much insulin. Over time, this makes your body more efficient at using energy, and it keeps insulin under control even when you're not exercising. Stress and sleep are also part of the equation. When stress is high and sleep is poor, the body produces more cortisol, which in turn keeps insulin elevated. It doesn't matter how perfect your diet is. If your hormones are disrupted by stress and exhaustion, fat burning will be slowed down. That's why managing stress, practicing relaxation, and prioritizing good sleep are just as important as what you eat. So the first step to fast and sustainable fat burning is not to obsess over calories, it's to take control of insulin. Once you do that, your body naturally shifts into a state where fat can be burned efficiently. Hunger decreases, energy rises, and fat loss stops feeling like a battle. Instead of fighting your body, you're working with it. This is the real key to breaking free from the endless dieting cycle and achieving lasting results. When people think about burning fat, protein isn't usually the first thing that comes to mind. Most focus on cutting carbs, reducing fat, or simply eating fewer calories. But protein is one of the most overlooked and powerful tools for accelerating fat loss. In fact, prioritizing protein doesn't just help you maintain muscle. It actively fuels the process of fat burning in ways most people never realize. Protein plays a unique role in metabolism. Unlike carbohydrates and fats, it takes more energy for your body to digest and use protein. This is called the thermic effect of food. When you eat protein, your body burns a significant portion of those calories just to break it down and process it. That means protein gives you less net energy than other macronutrients, and it boosts your overall calorie burn without you even trying. In simple terms, eating protein is like giving your metabolism a workout every time you sit down for a meal. But the benefits don't stop there. Protein is the building block of muscle, and muscle is the most metabolically active tissue in your body. The more muscle you have, the more calories you burn, even when you're sitting on the couch or sleeping at night. By prioritizing protein, you ensure your body has the raw materials it needs to preserve and even build lean muscle mass while you're losing fat. This is the key difference between just losing weight and actually transforming your body. Weight loss without protein can leave you feeling weaker, softer, and tired, but fat loss with protein leaves you leaner, stronger, and more energized. Another reason protein is so critical is its effect on hunger and cravings. One of the biggest struggles people face when trying to lose fat is constantly feeling hungry. Calorie restriction alone almost always backfires because the body fights back with powerful hunger signals. But protein is incredibly satiating. It keeps you full, satisfied, and in control of your appetite for hours. When you start your day with a protein-rich meal, you are far less likely to find yourself reaching for snacks, craving sugar, or overeating later on. This appetite-regulating power of protein makes it one of the most practical fat-burning tools you can use every single day. Protein also plays a direct role in stabilizing blood sugar and insulin. Unlike refined carbs, which spike blood sugar and keep insulin elevated, protein has a much gentler effect. By keeping insulin lower, protein allows your body to access stored fat more efficiently. Combine this with the satiety effect, and protein becomes a double weapon. It prevents overeating and keeps your fat-burning pathways open. This is why many successful fat loss strategies, from low-carb diets to intermittent fasting, still emphasize the importance of hitting your protein target. The challenge for many people is that they underestimate how much protein they really need. A small portion of chicken or a couple of eggs isn't enough for most adults trying to lose fat and preserve muscle. Research suggests that aiming for about 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight is a solid guideline for fat loss and body transformation. That may seem like a lot at first, but once you start building your meals around protein, it becomes much easier. Lean meats, fish, eggs, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, and even plant-based options like beans, lentils, and tofu can all be part of the plan. It's also important to spread protein throughout the day rather than loading it all into one meal. Your body can only use so much protein at a time for muscle repair and growth, so dividing it into balanced meals helps maximize the benefits. A protein-rich breakfast sets the tone for the day, lunch keeps energy stable, and dinner ensures recovery overnight. Even snacks can be an opportunity to sneak in more protein, whether through shakes, jerky, or high-protein snacks. When you prioritize protein, fat loss stops being a constant battle with hunger and low energy. Instead, your metabolism speeds up, your muscles are preserved, your cravings are reduced, and your body becomes more efficient at burning fat. This is why so many people who finally start focusing on protein are shocked at how much easier fat loss becomes. It isn't about eating less. It's about eating smarter, and protein is the smartest choice you can make. Fasting has been practiced for centuries, not just for spiritual reasons, but also as a way for the body to reset and renew. Today, modern science is catching up and showing what many cultures intuitively knew. Fasting is not about starving yourself. It's about giving your body the break it needs to heal, balance, and unlock stored energy. When we talk about fat burning, fasting is one of the most powerful tools available, because it directly targets the root cause of stubborn fat, chronically high insulin and disrupted metabolism. Every time you eat, especially if you're consuming refined carbs or frequent snacks, insulin rises. When insulin is elevated, your body's ability to burn fat is shut down. Instead, the body is told to store energy, not release it. The problem in today's world is that we eat all the time. From breakfast to late night snacks, our bodies are stuck in a constant fed state, and insulin rarely gets a chance to fall low enough to allow fat burning. This is where fasting becomes a game changer. By simply extending the time between meals, you give insulin the opportunity to drop, and in that state, your body finally has permission to access stored fat and use it for fuel. What's important to understand is that fasting is not just about eating nothing, it's about creating a window of rest for your metabolism. During that rest, your body switches from burning glucose to burning fat, a process called metabolic switching. In the first several hours, your body uses up the glucose circulating in your bloodstream. Then it taps into stored glycogen in the liver. Once that is depleted, something incredible happens. The body shifts gears and starts burning fat for energy. This is the reset we're talking about, teaching your metabolism to once again become flexible, capable of burning both sugar and fat depending on availability. One of the greatest benefits people experience with fasting is freedom from constant hunger. At first, it may sound counterintuitive. How could going without food make you less hungry? But when insulin levels are low and the body is burning fat efficiently, energy supply becomes steady and reliable. Instead of the roller coaster of sugar spikes and crashes that leave you tired and craving snacks, the fasting creates a smooth flow of energy from your own fat stores. This is why so many people who practice fasting describe feeling more alert, more focused, and more energized even without food. Fasting also triggers powerful cellular repair processes. When you're not constantly feeding, the body turns its attention inward and begins a process called autophagy. This is essentially cellular housekeeping where old, damaged, or inefficient cells are broken down and recycled. Autophagy has been linked to improved longevity, better brain health, and reduced risk of chronic disease. So fasting doesn't just help with fat burning, it helps your entire body function more efficiently. There are many ways to implement fasting, and the best approach is the one that fits into your lifestyle. For beginners, a simple 12 to 14-hour overnight fast can be incredibly effective. This might mean finishing dinner by 7 p.m. and not eating again until 9 a.m. As your body adapts, you can extend that window to 16 hours, leaving an 8-hour eating window. Some people go further with 18 or 20 hours, while others incorporate occasional 24-hour fasts. The point is not to punish yourself, but to create consistent periods where insulin drops and fat burning is activated. It's important to note that fasting doesn't mean ignoring nutrition. When you do eat, your meals should be nutrient-dense, rich in protein, healthy fats, and vegetables to fuel your body with what it needs. This combination ensures that fasting is sustainable, and it prevents the common mistake of binging on processed foods once the fast is over. Ultimately, fasting is not a diet, it's a pattern of living that allows your body to do what it was designed to do. Humans were never meant to eat constantly. Our ancestors thrived with periods of feast and periods of fasting, and our biology is still wired for that rhythm. By harnessing fasting as a metabolic reset, you reclaim that natural cycle. You allow your body to burn fat, stabilize hormones, and repair itself on a deeper level. Once fasting becomes part of your lifestyle, fat loss no longer feels forced or impossible. It becomes the natural outcome of a body that is finally working the way it was designed. Energy increases, cravings decrease, and fat burning becomes not just possible but sustainable. That is the real power of fasting, a reset that transforms both your metabolism and your life. One of the fastest ways to ignite fat burning is to change the quality of the food you eat. Not all calories are the same, and nowhere is this more obvious than in the difference between refined carbohydrates and whole, nutrient-dense foods. Refined carbs are foods that have been stripped of their natural fiber, vitamins, and minerals, things like white bread, sugary cereals, pastries, cookies, chips, and soda. These foods hit your bloodstream like a surge of sugar, spiking your blood glucose and, in turn, your insulin levels. And as we already know, when insulin is elevated, fat burning shuts down. The problem with refined carbs is not just their effect on insulin, but also how they keep you trapped in a cycle of cravings and energy crashes. When you eat them, blood sugar rises quickly, giving you a short burst of energy. But soon after, blood sugar plummets, leaving you tired irritable, and hungry again. That crash drives you to reach for another quick fix, often another refined carb, and the cycle continues. Over time, this constant roller coaster keeps insulin chronically high, promotes fat storage, and leaves you feeling out of control around food. Contrast that with whole foods, which are closer to their natural state. Whole foods like vegetables, fruits, legumes, lean proteins, nuts, seeds, and whole grains come packaged with fiber, water, and micronutrients. Fiber slows digestion and helps regulate blood sugar, preventing those sharp spikes and crashes. Nutrients like magnesium, potassium, and antioxidants help your body function at its best, supporting metabolism, energy, and recovery. When you build your meals around whole foods, insulin stays lower, energy stays steady, and your body is allowed to access fat stores more freely. One of the most powerful things about whole foods is how they naturally regulate appetite. Processed carbs are engineered to be hyper-palatable. They are designed to override your hunger signals and make you eat more than you need. That's why it's so easy to overeat cookies, chips, or candy, but much harder to overeat steak, eggs, or a plate of vegetables. Whole foods trigger the body's natural satiety signals, meaning you feel full sooner and stay satisfied longer. This is one of the simplest yet most effective ways to support fat loss without counting every calorie. Making the shift doesn't have to be overwhelming. Start by identifying where refined carbs sneak into your diet most often. Maybe it's the bread at breakfast, the sugary drink in the afternoon, or the processed snack before bed. Replacing even one of these with a whole food option can make a noticeable difference. Swap out white bread for eggs and vegetables, replace soda with sparkling water and lemon, or trade chips for a handful of nuts. Each small shift compounds, lowering insulin, reducing cravings, and creating momentum toward fat burning. It's also important to reframe the way you look at food. Instead of thinking of cutting carbs as deprivation, think of it as making space for foods that truly fuel you. Every time you choose a whole food over a refined carb, you're choosing steady energy, better hormone balance, and more effective fat burning. And the truth is, the body doesn't just respond physically, it rewards you mentally as well. Brain fog begins to lift, mood stabilizes, and you gain the mental clarity that refined carbs so often steal away. Another key advantage of embracing whole foods is how they nourish the gut. A healthy gut microbiome plays a massive role in metabolism, hunger regulation, and even mood. Refined carbs tend to feed the bad bacteria that thrive on sugar, leading to imbalances that worsen cravings and inflammation. Whole foods rich in fiber, on the other hand, feed the beneficial bacteria that support fat burning and overall health. By choosing whole foods, you're not just feeding yourself, you're feeding the ecosystem inside you that helps regulate weight and energy. Over time, as refined carbs leave your diet and whole foods take their place, the transformation becomes obvious. Energy becomes more stable, hunger lessens, and fat loss feels less like a constant struggle. The body stops storing so aggressively and starts burning more efficiently. And perhaps most importantly, this isn't a short-term fix, it's a long-term strategy. Unlike crash diets that rely on restriction and willpower, cutting refined carbs and embracing whole foods creates a lifestyle shift you can maintain. The real beauty of this approach is in its simplicity. You don't need to count every calorie or obsess over every bite. You simply need to ask yourself, is this food closer to its natural form, or is it processed and refined? Making that decision consistently will do more for your fat loss and overall health than any fad diet or supplement ever could. It's not about perfection. It's about progress, one whole food choice at a time. When most people think about burning fat through physical activity, their minds immediately jump to intense workouts, hours on the treadmill, heavy weights in the gym, or exhausting boot camp classes. While structured exercise is valuable, the truth is that fat burning isn't just about what you do for 30 to 60 minutes a day. It's about how you move your body throughout the entire day. Training your metabolism goes far beyond exercise. It's about movement as a lifestyle. The small, consistent actions you take every hour often matter more than the single workout you squeeze in. Our bodies are designed for movement. For thousands of years, humans walked, climbed, carried, and worked with their hands. Today, however, many of us spend the majority of our day sitting at desks, in cars, or on couches. Even if you hit the gym for an hour, sitting for the other 10 to 12 waking hours keeps your metabolism sluggish. That's because the body responds to constant stillness by downshifting energy expenditure. Muscle activity decreases, blood sugar control weakens, and fat storage becomes more likely. The simple truth is, you can't out-exercise a sedentary lifestyle. Training your metabolism means reintroducing movement into the rhythm of your day. Something as simple as walking more often can dramatically improve fat burning. Walking uses large muscle groups in a steady, low-intensity way that taps into fat as fuel. Unlike high-intensity exercise that primarily burns glucose, walking and light movement keep your body in a fat-burning state without spiking hunger or stress hormones. A 20 to 30-minute walk after meals, for example, helps lower blood sugar and insulin, creating the perfect conditions for fat loss. Another powerful way to train your metabolism is through non-exercise activity thermogenesis, or NEAT. This includes everything you do outside of formal exercise: taking the stairs instead of the elevator, standing instead of sitting, doing chores, gardening, playing with your kids, or even just fidgeting. These small actions add up to a massive calorie burn over the course of a day. In fact, research shows that people who move more throughout the day, even without structured workouts, often burn hundreds of extra calories compared to those who are sedentary but exercise occasionally. NEAT is your secret weapon to keep your metabolism humming without exhausting yourself in the gym. Of course, exercise still has an important role, especially when it comes to improving insulin sensitivity and building muscle. Strength training, in particular, is one of the best investments you can make in your metabolism. Muscle tissue is metabolically active, meaning it burns calories even when you're resting. The more lean muscle you carry, the higher your baseline metabolism, and the easier it becomes to burn fat. High-intensity workouts also have their place, as they create an afterburn effect where your body continues burning calories long after the session is over. But the key is not to rely solely on exercise while ignoring the other 23 hours of your day. The combination of daily movement and intentional exercise creates a metabolic environment where fat burning becomes automatic. Movement keeps blood sugar stable, prevents insulin spikes, and maintains circulation, while exercise builds the machinery, your muscles, that allow your body to burn more energy around the clock. Together, they create a powerful synergy that transforms your metabolism from sluggish to efficient. Another overlooked aspect of movement is its effect on stress and energy. Prolonged sitting and inactivity often make you feel more fatigued, not less. Regular movement boosts circulation, oxygen delivery, and endorphins, leaving you more energized and focused. Lower stress levels also mean lower cortisol, which in turn helps keep insulin balanced and fat burning switched on. This is why something as simple as a midday walk can lift your mood, sharpen your mind, and support fat loss all at once. The mindset shift is simple, but transformative. Don't think of fat burning as something that only happens in the gym. Think of your entire day as an opportunity to train your metabolism. Stand while making phone calls, stretch during breaks, walk instead of driving short distances, or use a standing desk. Every movement matters, and when you add them up, they create a lifestyle where your metabolism never goes dormant. Ultimately, the key is consistency, not perfection. You don't need to chase extreme workouts or punish yourself with endless cardio. You simply need to keep your body in motion and make strength training and regular activity a natural part of your routine. When you view movement as a tool to train your metabolism, not just a task to burn calories, you unlock a fat-burning lifestyle that is sustainable, energizing, and far more effective than exercise alone. When it comes to fat burning, most people focus on diet and exercise, but few realize that sleep and stress are just as important, if not more. You can eat the cleanest foods, train consistently, and practice fasting, but if you are constantly sleep-deprived and stressed out, your hormones will be working against you. And fat loss is a hormonal game. If hormones like insulin, cortisol, ghrelin, and leptin are out of balance, your body will resist burning fat no matter how disciplined you are in other areas. Let's start with sleep. Sleep is not just rest for your brain, it is a powerful metabolic regulator. When you sleep deeply, your body restores energy, repairs muscle tissue, and balances critical fat-burning hormones. But when sleep is cut short or disrupted, everything starts to unravel. A single night of poor sleep can elevate cortisol and reduce insulin sensitivity, which means your body will store fat more easily and struggle to access it for energy. It also impacts ghrelin and leptin, the hormones that regulate hunger and fullness. With too little sleep, ghrelin, the hunger hormone, rises, while leptin, the satiety hormone, drops. This combination leaves you hungrier, less satisfied after meals, and more likely to crave high sugar, high fat foods. It's not about willpower, it's your hormones driving those cravings. Sleep also determines how well your body responds to exercise and nutrition. If you're sleep deprived, the same workout feels harder, recovery takes longer, and muscle repair is compromised. Without quality sleep, even the protein you eat and the strength training you do won't fully pay off. Fatigue from poor sleep also makes it harder to stay active during the day, decreasing movement and slowing down metabolism. In short, lack of sleep robs you of the benefits of everything else you're doing right. Stress is the other side of the coin. In today's world, chronic stress has become the norm, and your body responds to it by releasing cortisol. Cortisol isn't bad on its own. In fact, it helps regulate energy and keeps you alert. But when cortisol is elevated all day long, it keeps blood sugar and insulin higher than normal, which locks fat away in storage. Stress also drives emotional eating, often toward the very foods that spike insulin, the most refined carbs, sugar, and comfort foods. This creates a vicious cycle where stress leads to overeating. Overeating raises insulin, and elevated insulin prevents fat burning. Managing stress doesn't mean eliminating it completely. Stress is part of life. The key is learning how to bring cortisol back down after stressful moments. Practices like deep breathing, meditation, prayer, journaling, or even a simple walk outdoors can reset your nervous system and shift your body from fight or flight into rest and recovery mode. Spending time with loved ones, laughing, listening to music, or engaging in hobbies also play a big role in stress reduction. The point is to create intentional moments of calm that allow your body to reset hormonally. Sleep and stress are deeply connected. Poor sleep raises stress hormones, and high stress disrupts sleep. This cycle can be difficult to break, but once you begin improving one, the other often follows. Creating a sleep routine is one of the simplest but most powerful steps you can take. Going to bed and waking up at consistent times, keeping your room cool and dark, and avoiding screens before bed can dramatically improve sleep quality. Even adding a relaxing bedtime ritual, like reading, stretching, or practicing gratitude, can train your body to wind down and prepare for restorative rest. When you prioritize sleep and stress control, your hormones align in your favor. Cortisol comes down, insulin becomes more stable, ghrelin and leptin rebalance, and your metabolism naturally shifts toward fat burning. You wake up with more energy, you feel more in control of your cravings, and your body finally begins responding to your efforts. It stops feeling like a constant uphill battle and starts feeling like momentum is on your side. At the end of the day, fat burning isn't about punishing your body. It's about creating the right environment for it to thrive. Sleep and stress are often the missing pieces in that puzzle. Once you respect their role and give your body the rest and balance it craves, everything else you're doing, whether it's fasting, eating protein, or moving more, will work better. Fat loss becomes less of a struggle and more of a natural byproduct of a body in harmony.